Today I'd like to continue talking about the practice of non-judgment. One of the questions that often comes up in this area is, if I don't judge things, then how will I know what actions I'll take in the world to make things better? Well, that's a good question, and we certainly want to take part in improving our world. We want to take actions that we think will help people to suffer less. And so the process of eliminating negative judgments is not at all meant to preclude being an activist in various ways to help others or even help your own life to improve. So there's a bit of a subtle answer to this question, and I'll do my best. Basically, you can have a decision about how to move forward. Am I going to go left or am I going to right? Every juncture of life is a decision-making process. And certainly some of those decisions will be taken with the intention of making the world a better place for others and for ourselves. And so we will be discerning which way to go and what things we're going to do with our time. The trick is that we can see a difference between holding energies of negative judgments in our process of discernment and holding energies of love, acceptance, and understanding in our decision-making processes. So, for example, let's say you see a situation where there are organizations or people that tend to oppress others and limit their choices and their resources in their lives. And it seems to be very challenging for these oppressed people to move ahead and grow and live their life without so much suffering. Well, it's very tempting to judge the oppressors and have an energy of negativity about them and carry that into some form of action. And yet we can also hold an energy of compassion, care, and love for the oppressed, and use that energy of caring and love to energize our actions to help to either change the situation, to reduce the oppression and oppressive forces or structures that are in place, or simply try to help the oppressed people in their lives in some tangible way, even if the structural issues that are tending to oppress them can't be immediately addressed. So we can stay positive even in the face of what seems to be so negative. And it can be a subtle thing sometimes, but I think that once we develop new habits of awareness, new habits of energy and of tendencies to look for understanding rather than quick judgments of negativity, it becomes easier and easier to see positive ways and visions for improving the world without being so caught up in what's so terrible that we're fighting against, so to speak. And it can be a good fight. I believe in the concept of a good fight. that's fine. But I think the best fights are taken through love. That's what makes it good. They're taken through compassion. They're taken through vision of seeing possibilities of a new, more love-based, hopeful world that we can be a part of creating in each moment of our lives. And really, the most effective, I believe, way of taking these intentions into every moment of our life, not just when we're out actively taking physical actions to help ourselves and others, but in every moment, the most effective way of transforming the world for the better is to transform ourselves. This is a point that deserves its own video or series of videos, but it's worth mentioning in this context. In fact, I think when we look at some of the most successful social activist movements, for example, that which was led by Martin Luther King in his nonviolent approach to protesting the prejudice and injustice that he saw, the nonviolent approach of love, compassion, and understanding was the foundation, I believe, which helped to transform the protesters, helped to transform the oppressed people themselves, and work towards change without so much negative energy brought to their work. And so, yes, they did protest against racism, they marched, and even in the face of riot police and officials trying to perhaps stop their rallies and marches, it was done in a peaceful manner. That was primary in the movement, was to use a non-violent approach to all of the actions and protests. And that, I believe, helped to transform the protesters at the same time as they went out and raised the awareness of the situation to people that were observing the protests. So let's find positive ways of energizing our actions that will allow us to continue to transform ourselves while we work to better the world in whatever way we can through our actions. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up below and subscribe to my channel for future videos on the spiritual process and spiritual practices. I'm sure that I will have more videos on the subject of non-judgment coming up, so stay tuned.